Hello everyone. Today we come again to look at my experiment on investing, which is crypto. In crypto, it called risky asset. So some investor like they have different appetite, and the more risky, the more risk, the more return. So and my experiment is invest in Solana. It's the top. It's in the top 10. In the top 10. What they call in the top 10 crypto coin. But if you take what they call stable coin out, it in the top 5. So it's really big coin and it's really big coin. So the volatility it's a lot lesser than meme coin. So I would like to invest in smaller coins so it have more room to grow. However, it still have more volatility compared to Bitcoin. So let's see, 1 week, Bitcoin up 22%. 1 week, Ethereum up 28%. And 1 week, Solana up 26%. So it's not really different that much. But I like Solana. I like the platform too. And Trump coin is using a Solana platform. So, and what else? Look at the stock market today. PKW down a little bit, 0.5%. PKW is stock buyback company, so they do not leave. There's 160 company in there, and those company doesn't put their free cash flow around. So when they have free cash flow, they spend some of them to buy the stock buyback and then make the stock price go up. And also I want to look at I just just the other day I just bought a new coin. For some reason it's not working. So let's see, S&P 500 up 0.32%. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.3%. Look like everything is up. Nasdaq Composite 100 up 66%. Gold up now at the price 47.15. The all-time high was $5,500 per ounce. And so crude oil WTI come back down to $81. And SpaceX went back up about 2.19% up. And the interest rate, we see the short term 1 month do not change, still the same, but the 3-month rate is down, and 1-year rate down, 10-year rate down to 4.6, and 30-year to 4.17, about 5.17. So if this come up to 5%, it's gonna be really good for the economy. Let's see a more detailed breakdown for finance stories. What matter most today, August 25, 2026, with what they could mean for the stocks, bond, inflation, and crypto. Nvidia is the biggest near-term market catalyst. Nvidia report earnings Wednesday afternoon, and the option market is pricing roughly 5.4% post-earning move, equivalent about $280 billion of capitalization market cap. Investors are especially focused on AI chip demand, profit margins, data center spending, and forward guidance. This matter beyond Nvidia itself. The strong report could lift semiconductor names, the Nasdaq, and a broader AI investment theme. A weak outlook could have the opposite effect because Nvidia has become one of the most important stocks in major US index. My rate, this is probably a single biggest company specific event of this week. 2. Stock recover today, but the market still fragile. Wall Street finished higher Tuesday after recent weakness. Technology share rebounded, while overall price falling Treasury yields eased some of the pressure weighing on equities. The important point is that the rally is not happening because all the risks have disappeared. Not happening because all the risks disappear. Investors are still dealing with high bond yields, inflation uncertainty, trade tension, and geopolitical risks. So, I would characterize today as a relief rebound rather than an all clear signal. 3. The Fed may not be finished raising interest rates. Boston Fed President Susan Collins delivered one of the day's most important monetary policy warnings. She said the Fed may have to raise rates again soon unless income inflation data show convincing important. The federal fund target rank currently sits 3.5% to 3.75%, while estimate core PCE inflation is around 3.3%, still substantially above the Fed 2% goal. That is significant because markets would much rather see rate cuts than another tightening cycle. Another hike would generally be negative for high valuation growth and technology stocks, potentially negative for crypto, supportive for dollar, potentially negative for gold, likely to keep borrow costs elevated. Upcoming inflation data, therefore, carry unusually high importance. 4. The Treasury market has becoming almost as important as the Fed. Treasury yield have recently climbed enough to put pressure on stocks, mortgage, and corporate borrowing. Today yields eased, helping equity recover, but investors remain concerned about U.S. debt and Treasury financing. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's effort to increase purchases prices of longer dated government debts have attracted significant attention because the government is effectively trying to reduce pressure in the long-term bond market. Reuters notes that investors are still broadly treating Treasury security as safe asset, but they demanding higher compensation for holding longer-term U.S. debt. This is one of the most important macro signals to watch. If a 10-year Treasury yield falls, that generally helps stocks, housing, and crypto. If it moves substantially high again, it will become more cautious about equities. 5. Oil fell sharply. Potentially every good news for inflation. Potentially very good news for inflation. Oil had one of today's biggest moves. Brent crude is 88.58 a barrel, WTI 82.36 a barrel. Brent fell about 3.9%, while WTI declined 3.1%. What's unusual is that oil fell despite expanded U.S. sanctions against Iran. Traders apparently concluded that economic pressure were less threatening to actual oil supply than further military escalation would have been. Falling oil matters because it can eventually reduce gasoline price, transportation costs, corporate costs, and inflation. So today's oil drop is bullish for stocks. From an inflation perspective, assuming it continues. Bitcoin crossed $80,000. Bitcoin moved about $80,000, reaching its highest level in roughly 3 months. It is up about 28% during August. According to Reuters, several forces are driving the move. Treasury intervention, weaker dollar, worry about currency debasement, increased demand for scarce assets such as Bitcoin and gold. There has also been an improvement in regulatory sentiment around cryptocurrency in Washington. This is particularly relevant for the broader crypto market because sustained Bitcoin strength normally improve liquidity and risk appetite for major altcoins. For Solana, I'll watch whether Bitcoin can hold the 80,000 area rather than merely spike above it. If Bitcoin establish 80K as support, that's much more constructive for Solana than a temporary breakout would be. 7. US-Canada trade tension just escalated significantly. Canada announced tariffs on approximately 27.6 billion Canadian dollar, equivalent to 19.94 billion US dollar. worth in American products. Tariffs, the tariffs will range from 15% to 50% across roughly 700 products beginning September 8. Canada responds to new U.S. tariffs on approximately 20 billion of Canadian imports. Products affected include areas such as 50% tariffs, some steel, aluminum, furniture and clothing, 25% cheese, appliance, and some seafood, 15% electrics and tools. Canada also announced a roughly 7.5 billion Canadian dollar support package for businesses and workers affected by the dispute. The market risk here is inflation. Tariffs effectively increase import costs, and businesses can eventually pass those costs on to customers. 8. Consumer confidence is deteriorating. The Conference Board's U.S. Consumer Confidence Index fell to 89.4 in August, down from a revised 90.2 in July, and the lower level since January. Consumers are increasingly worried about job availability, inflation, their future financial situation. This matters enormously because consumer spending represents the majority of U.S. economic activity. Weakening confidence doesn't automatically mean recession, but it becomes more concerning when combined with slowing retail sales and weakness in housing. 9. Housing showing significantly stress. July's new single-family home sale fell 10.5% to an annualized rate of approximately 607,000 homes, the lower levels in January. Mortgage rates were recently around 6.77%, while the median new home selling price fell approximately $393,800, the lowest in 4 years. Perhaps even more important, only about 5.2% of consumers surveyed said they intended to buy a home over the next 6 months. That's a very weak signal for housing demand. The housing market probably won't experience a strong recovery until long-term Treasury yield won't experience a strong recovery until longer-term Treasury yield and therefore mortgage rate fall meaningfully. 10. Gold is signaling distrust in the macro environment. Gold reached roughly a 3-month high today. Investors are buying it because a combination of inflation fear, U.S. government debt concerns, dollar weakness, geopolitical risk, uncertainty over the Fed policy, Gold has gained roughly 15% in August according to Today reporting. What particularly interesting is that gold and Bitcoin rising simultaneously. That tell me investor and simply taking more risk. Some are looking for assets outside traditional currency. The government debt as protection against fiscal and monetary uncertainty. The big picture, I would organize today's market into four major forces. Four current signal and market implication. Inflation still too high, bearish if it stays elevated. Treasury yield falling today. Have stock and crypto all down sharply. Have for inflation. AI Nvidia major catalyst tomorrow. Could swing Nasdaq sharply. Consumer weakening. Economic growth concern. Housing weak. Rate sensitive economy struggling. Bitcoin strong. Positive crypto momentum. Gold strong. Signals macro fiscal concern. US-Canada trade escalating. Potential inflation risk. Three things I would watch tomorrow. Nvidia earning a strong bid plus strong guidance could push Nasdaq higher. Weak guidance could trigger meaningful AI stock correction. 2. PCE inflation. This may be even important for the medium-term market. A cooler number would reduce fear of another Fed hike. A hot number could send Treasury yields higher and stock crypto lower. 3. 30-year Treasury yield. This is currently one of the best indicators of whether financial conditions are becoming easier or tighter. Hi everyone, thank you for watching today. And we see the price of Solana about the same. And up to date, we our portfolio actually have $6,000 profit. And also yesterday when I sell 50 of them, I sell 50 and it was $7,086 profit. But now since the price coming down, the gain, the profit is lower. However, so I sold 100 already, so that means I'm making some money. Like that means I have some cash on hand. So when it come down, so now I have $14,000 cash on hand, so I can use it to buy when it go down some more. Like let's say if it go down to back to 90 or 85 or something, I can buy my 150 again and then I keep the profit. So that's why I'm doing that. So, and let's see what at the end of this year how much I'm gonna make with the experiments. Hi everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next episode. Bye bye.